rise one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio.
And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
This is Khadevis Robinson, and welcome to the Khadevis Robinson Challenge. Today I want to talk about something that I think is super important, and that's, fulfilling your destiny. And what do I mean by that, fulfilling your destiny? I think we all have a destiny, and I think what we all have to realize is that God made us on purpose. What does that mean? It means that you are not an accident. You know, sometimes when we go through life, I think a lot of us may go through life as if we're by default. You know how on a computer you have default settings in which no matter how things go, your computer will start back on those settings. I think sometimes in life we live our lives as if we're on default settings. We live our lives as if we got to start at the beginning every time, as if things are just automatically in place, as if we are a tree, as if we cannot change. And I think that we have to realize that we are in control of our lives, meaning we're not a tree and we can change. And I think when we sit back and think about some things, it really will make us proud, it really give us confidence, and it also will make us excited about what life can hold. And think about this. If you had the opportunity to get a painting, and you were able to get that painting painted by Vincent van Gogh or some of the best painters in the world, you would be confident. You would be like, I'm going to have the best painting in the world. Likewise, if you had the opportunity to get composition or get some music composed, and it was able to be done by Beethoven or Mozart or whomever, you will be confident because you know the best composers are composing for you. And I think that's how we got to look at life. See, the thing is, God created all of us on purpose. See, that's the key. The key is not that God created us. We know that. We know that God created us. We know the universe created us. We know that we're here for a reason and a purpose. But I think when we sit back and say that not only did God create us, God created us on purpose for a purpose. And I think the thing that we have to realize is that if God created us on purpose, for a purpose, then once we realize what our purpose is, we should have confidence that we can fulfill that purpose. Does that make sense? In other words, if God, whom can do anything, created anything for a purpose, then that means God also gave us what we needed to accomplish that purpose. You know? And so I think sometimes we think that there's other things outside of us that's hindering us from achieving that purpose, but we're blinded by things. I'm reminded of a book that I read, and it was talking about Moses, and it was talking about when he was up in the mountain speaking with God, and then lo and behold, he saw a burning bush. Now, when he saw that burning bush, he was confused. He was like, man, this doesn't make any sense. I'm seeing a burning bush. Is it really burning? So he watched it for a while, and he noticed that the bush was on fire, but it was not being consumed, right? And he looked to the side and looked and tried to figure out what was going on with this bush that was burning, and it was on fire, but it was not being consumed. And in this particular book, the example that was given was it wasn't the bush that was on fire. The fire was burning within Moses. And what had happened is, by seeing that, by being able to be in a realm in which you can see that on the inside you're on fire in a good way, that you have that inner fire in you to accomplish things, to see things, that you're able to go and accomplish the things that now you know you can accomplish. You see, Moses, he was looking, he's like, man, this is confusing me. And sometimes we have to be awakened. Sometimes we have to wake up. Sometimes we're going through life, and something has to happen to wake us up, to get us to know, okay, we need to reevaluate. We need to kind of figure things out a little bit more. I was talking to a friend this week, just earlier today, and I gave him an example on this point. And the example was, when I went to TC, the neighborhood I'm from on the south side of Fort Worth, it was mostly people that, the people that was in gangs was mostly Crips, and they were blue. And so just, because you didn't want to cause any problems, you would wear blue. I wasn't in the gang, but you wouldn't want to wear red, because if you wore red, then there can be issues. Now, obviously, people who knew me knew I wasn't in the gang, so if I had on red, it wouldn't be an issue. But what about the clowns who didn't know me? And what about the clowns who may be on some drugs or alcohol or whatever and just do something stupid? So lo and behold, typically, if I did wear red, I wouldn't wear a lot of red, But when I went off to college, I went to TCU. When I went off to college, which is only about 10 minutes down the road, maybe 15 minutes down the road from where my house was, I could wear whatever I wanted, red, blue. I could do whatever I wanted, because that same environment wasn't where at TCU. It was a different environment, right? So one weekend, I decided to come home. So I came home, and I remember like it was yesterday. I thought I was smooth. I had on some cream-colored polo pants and a red polo shirt. I mean, you couldn't tell me nothing. I mean, I lived, this was before I became a Kappa. And so I went back home, and one of my friends saw me, and he walked right past me and said, "Oh, KD, you tripping, cuz, with all that dead on." And I stopped, and I thought, and I looked at myself, and I'm like, whoa, and I snapped back. And the point is, yeah, does it make sense to not be able to wear red? No, it's silly. But that's the reality. That's where I was at. And I had been out of that realm so long that I was like not really thinking the way I should have in other environments. So it woke me up, and then I thought I had to be a little bit more careful, because, if you got somebody who's on drugs or whatever, who knows what they're going to do, because they don't know me. The youngsters don't know me. And so now from that point on, I had to be very conscious that I was, in a sense, living in two different worlds, right? And I had to adjust and adapt to the world that I was living in, and also adjust and adapt to the world that I was going in and out of. But I had to be awakened. I had to be woken up, And I think sometimes in life, that's what the universe, or that's what God does to us. And it's not always done in a positive way. I mean, I always tell people, and I think if you have kids, you know this example, kids like attention. I always joke and say women like attention and kids like attention. And the thing about children is they're going to get your attention whether they get it in a good way or a bad way. So if they can get it in a good way, they'll do good in school, they'll make a basketball shot, they'll do whatever, and you go, good job, way to go, Zion, way to, and they love that. They want that attention. But if you don't give them that attention, they'll do it in a bad way. They'll start getting on your nerves. They'll do something they're not supposed to do to get in trouble, because really all they're seeking is that attention. Well, I think also the universe and God works the same way. It's like they need to get your attention. And sometimes it's easier to get the attention of someone through controversial or through adversity or through sometimes bad incidents. It wakes you up and says, hold on, what have I been doing? What's going on? I need to reevaluate how things have been going. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to wake up, reevaluate where we are and what we're doing, and look at it from a standpoint of saying, hold on, these are the goals that I have for my life. And I was created by God on purpose, for a purpose. And so if you were created by God on purpose, for a purpose, the magical question is, are you living on purpose? Or are you living by default? Are you living by design, or are you living by default? Are you just waking up and when you get home and you eat and you go to work and you stay there for 8 hours and you come home and you hit the kids a little bit and you go to bed and you do it every day until it's time for you to get up and go to a different journey, until it's time for you to croak over and die and go to the – because none of us are going to get out of this thing alive. That's the thing. None of us are getting out of this alive. So we have whatever that time period is, let's say 80, 90 years, to fulfill our purpose, you know. And about 15 and 20 years is preparing ourselves to be able to have the skill set and the ability to fulfill that purpose. And then the last 10 years is just helping others and trying to stay as healthy as possible, you know, living on purpose and sharing that with others. So you really only got, you know, a certain amount of years to live on purpose and be an example for others to also live on purpose. When they see you shine, that gives them, this is my Angelo said, it gives them the opportunity, the courage, the confidence to shine also. So what I'm saying is when you wake up in the morning, when you go to church, when you go to school, when you go to work, when you're with your kids, when you're eating, are you eating on purpose? What I mean by that, are you realizing that the food you eat is actually the energy that you're going to have to do other things? You know, when you're taking a bath, or you're taking a bath or a shower on purpose, yeah, you need to be clean, but why? You know, taking a bath could be a spiritual moment. When we look at the great books, some of these things happen sometimes in close to lakes and waters and oceans and springs. And in my favorite book, they watch the feet, the dirtiest part of a person back in the day, and they watch the feet and everything connected with water. Are you taking a shower on purpose? And I don't mean you have to be all focused and tense and stressed. What I'm saying is, are you living your life on purpose? And if you're not, what's keeping you from doing it? Because God created you for a purpose. It's as if you did something, you created something, you built something, and it's supposed to go do something, and you're just waiting for them to do it. And you're thinking to yourself, what are they doing? You know, you put two people together and tell them to go to work as a team to accomplish something, and they spending their whole time arguing and debating instead of working together. You're saying, what are they doing? You know, I'm reminded of the section in the Bible, I always speak about this, the Tower of Babel. It's when all those people was working together to build a tower up to God. They were speaking the same language and the same accord. They was working together. They was building that dang thing. And God looked down and he was talking to whomever he was with. I would imagine it was angels. And he said, man, look what these people are doing. I created them on purpose, for a purpose. And I created them on purpose for a purpose. And they can do anything. And this is what they're deciding to do. I mean, they can do anything in the world. And here they are deciding to build a tower up here to come try to get up to me. And so God said, you know, God could have stopped them. He could have rained down fire. He could have did all sorts of things. But he said, you know what? I know what to do. You know, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to confuse their language, you know. Because when you're on the same accord, when you're in the same language, with the same goal, and this is what he said, they can do anything. But if I get them to speak a different language, I get them to go against each other, argue against each other, start fighting against each other, then they ain't going to accomplish nothing. They will completely forget that they're here for a purpose, created by God on purpose. They'll start to live by default instead of living by design. My challenge for you is to start living by design. We do not know when this journey is going to be over. We don't. But we know a couple of things. We know God created us on purpose, for a purpose. And we also know that since God created us on purpose, for a purpose, that God also gave us what we needed to accomplish that purpose. And then on top of that, we know that if we partner with positive, powerful people, and we speak the same language and have the same goal, that we can do anything. Just don't get distracted and by trying to accomplish this thing, trying to build a tower and use that time to do something silly. Use that time to accomplish that goal and the purpose that God put you here for. This has been Khadevis Robinson. This is the Khadevis Robinson Challenge. And I holla.
Lord, I just want to say thank you for sending your son down to die for my sins. Even though I messed up and I get it wrong, you love me unconditionally. All I have is you. A sinner saved by grace, but is that really true? Cause I still feel in love with what I used to do. And I don't feel a change, but my heart yearns for you. I don't feel complete, even when it's going right. When I'm missing you, Lord, please come into my life. Loving you the real test, not to love you to get blessed. And yes, I know that you the best. So here I am to worship. Sacrifice my life so you can work it. How you see fit for your glory is worth it. Everything else can take a backseat. Running to your throne for your mercy like a track meet. Why you have to ask me? I don't understand. Without you, Lord, how can I be a real man? I ain't gon' try. I give you all of me, Lord, and ride till I die. Put my knees to the floor.
Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
So here I am, all I have is me. Still to this day, it feel make-believe. Why would you save me? I stoned you to death. I made you bleed on your cross to your last breath. Lord, was I really worth it? Cause apart from you, my life is all worthless. Ain't no point in working, cause it's all in vain. Without a real purpose, I really need to change. I don't know how, it's amazing that you even called me. Lord, I'm in RC, my struggles still haunt me. Random women every night, just to feel wanted. To feel like a man, cause my daddy didn't want me. And the past pain, addicted to Mary Jane. Father on cocaine, money down the drain. Baby mama drama, got me going insane. I know I've been redeemed, but I don't feel a change.
Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
I'm paying homage to you, Father, that's my only option. After you ripped the veil and gave me the gospel, so I could see the truth, so I can walk with you. And that's the greatest thing that anyone can ever do. You really saved my life when I was worst at it, an addict on any level for pleasure, pain, and passion. I could never grasp it, cause it's never lasting. But Lord, you everlasting. I burn my flesh to ashes so I can walk with you. Your love is unconditional. So even though I struggle with my past, you still see me through. Sometimes I get it wrong, I fail plenty times, but I get back up and I ride. Your son lived and died for my eternal life. So now I'm still tight. God inside, you give me light. Now I'm saying I will fight all my pain, hurt, and my struggles in my past life. Lord, you wipe away my tears every night.
Here I am to worship. Here I am to